get into the whole Star Wars conversation. That's another game that came out this week. Maury, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you kind of take the reins because Jake and I played the game, so I think we can both speak more to that. So if you guys have any questions in regards to that, y'all can just shoot them. Just go all out. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Jake and Cash got access to this title early. They both got review
10
copies for
days.
Star Wars
Sorry.
Outlaws. 10 days, 10 whole
Mhm.
days.
Okay.
I want to ask you guys some questions about what you guys thought with your playthrough. Have you both rolled credits?
I
Yeah.
haven't. Jake has.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I beat it.
I love it. Okay,
Y'all didn't
so
pay
let
for the
me
game, right?
Say
do
what?
what?
Nope,
Y'all didn't
review
pay for the
copy
game, right?
provided by Ubisoft. What up?
Yes, we had a copy provided by
We
Ubisoft.
gotta let
Thank
that
you,
be known.
Ubisoft.
Which version of the copy did you guys get?
We got the premium edition,
Hot Fire
No
Edition.
fucking way.
the ultimate edition. We got the ultimate edition.
So like
Yeah.
So before we dive into that, I have a question. So
Mhm.
because you guys didn't pay for the game, does that kind of color your guys' perception? Or
Not necessarily.
No?
No.
But even
I
if
wouldn't
you
say
would have
so.
spent
Absolutely.
$130, you don't think it would have maybe skewed?
I
So
get
I'm
asked
glad
that
you brought
question
it up.
all the time.
Jake, you want to take over, or do you want me to? You can go first.
You hit it first. I'll follow up.
All right. So my thing is, it's not $130. It's not $130 game. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people that are kind of like marking this game. I can't believe this is a $130 game. It's so buggy. But like, there are different tiers to this game, and I'll say this to the chat. You can buy the standard edition, which is the premium that everybody gets, $70. Then you have the what, 95? Was it $95? The
Is
other
there
one?
less bugs than the $95?
109.
There's no 109? Yes, there's a $109 one.
Less
And
bugs
then
than
there's
that
the 130. No. And then there's a $130 bundle. And the fact that I've seen a lot of content creators, even content creators that I actually like, that are kind of spewing the same thing. And I'm like, bro, I can't believe you are actually like stooping to that point to call this game. I feel like it's disingenuous. It's not a $130 game. Sorry. It is a $70 game. If you want to get the additional content, which for the most part, outside of like the extra mission, which is I still don't agree with.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of
cosmetic.
mission behind
Majority of the
$60
game,
paywall.
majority of the DLC is cosmetic. Let's just keep it real.
It's like
You
when we
don't
went
need that to
through
enjoy the
Dragon Age.
game.
It's like when we went through Dragon Age.
But we need the
Those
mission,
cosmetics are
though.
useless.
We-
Why would you
so
pay
But
the
the
thing
game
is-
is $130.
No, but
Because
here's
you
the
don't get to
thing.
enjoy that mission without the $100.
I get what you're saying, but at this, I feel like it's just mismanagement by Ubisoft when it comes to that.
I can buy the game for $70, and you can buy the game for $130, and we don't get the same game.
An extra 2 missions, you don't have to.
We
play
don't
those
get
extra
the
2 missions.
same game.
I get no. I
In
don't.
fairness, the
clarify.
$130 version does include the season pass as well, which is substantial playable DLC coming
Yes,
for the
there-
future,
for
which
the
I think should be
future, right.
considered. But for the most part, I think there's 3 versions of it, and it gets a little weird when you got physicals
I need to
versus
hear this.
digitals as well.
I need to hear this. Can you
Go ahead, Jake.
No. I need to hear this.
Mhm.
You said that
Yeah, go.
there's gonna be more playable DLC in the future.
On the way. Yeah, on the way.
They're adding story missions in the DLCs in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this changes everything. That's really dope, actually.
Yeah, because you can actually buy a season pass. You can pay for a season pass
It's-
outside
yeah,
of
it's
like
pretty
the
standard
edition.
Are these seasons gonna keep bringing playable content?
Yes.
Oh, that changes everything. I'm a hater.
It's pretty fucking standard fare. I think they've announced that like one of them has like I think it's like a Lando DLC pack and stuff like that. But for a
Right.
single player game, like it's a pretty standard season pass, includes 2 substantial DLC pack type of thing. But to answer your question about like, does me getting it for free influence my opinion on the game, is I'm always going to preface it with I didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? Like I legally,
Right,
the
exactly.
FTC requires I fucking say that. If I don't say that, I'm fucking up terribly.
Pretty
But-
much.
In addition to that, I always tell people to take it with a grain of salt too, because my perspective on video game prices and paying money for video games is skewed as hell as a content creator anyway. Because for me, I'll spend $60 on a game that I stream for one night because that's worth it to create content around and provide for my chat a view of like a game that we've been talking about for months. So I'm
not
never
only-
really a very reliable source for is it worth it anyway, if I'm being honest.
Not only that, we can put it on our tax returns. Let's just keep it real. Like I put that all the games that I play on stream, I put that on my tax returns because it's
For sure.
It's part of my business.
Yeah, that's a write-off.
Man,
It's a write-off.
Chess while we're playing checkers.
I was about to say, I need to
I
start
do it
writing
every
shit
year.
off.
I do
Yeah.
it every year. Harless. That's why I was telling you about.
Do you
But
just
yeah.
keep your
When
When we
receipts?
went to Evo, Heartless,
Yeah, I keep my
all that
receipt. I keep
money,
my receipts.
I'm
What
gonna
I do,
write
I
that off.
scan them. I scan all my receipts and I have them in like a Google Doc. So by the end of the year, I have everything ready. Email them to my tax man and all the stuff that I spent on. Just like all of this, what I earn plus what I spend and all that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just business expenses. You know, for X Element, yeah, everything that I've spent this last year with the FGC team, yeah, that's all going on tax return.
Yeah, so I don't think it really makes my opinion any less valuable because like I said, even when I was playing the other day on stream, I did say this. I did preface by saying, yes, I got sponsored by Ubisoft, but also you don't have to buy the Ultimate Edition. I got the Ultimate Edition. I was fortunate to get the Ultimate Edition, but you don't have to spend that money and get the Ultimate Edition. You can actually buy the Standard Edition.
Is
It's
it fair
something-
to
There's
say
also,
that
especially
person
with
that's complaining about spending $130? Yeah, that is a choice that you made when the basic edition does exist. You know,
Exactly. It's not like they were forcing you.
If you read about this game, Ubisoft didn't wake up and take $130 from your pocket and say, haha, now you have Star Wars Outlaws, bro. You got fucking free will.
Right.
This isn't-
Pretty much.
This isn't the
Maury, what
future
are you
we're all
gonna say?
working towards.
It's kind of
Exactly.
like with your cell phone. If I want to have internet and text, I have to buy them together. You know,
Right.
Right?
Yeah, no, I was
There's
gonna.
that. Go ahead.
I was
Maury.
going to clarify that for the $130 edition, you also got 3-day early access. That was like one thing that I was going to throw in there.
Yep.
Another thing I'll say is this in regards to Cash and Jake and whether or not they're paid shills. I mean, they're definitely paid shills, but nevertheless, right? But what I'm trying to clarify is that these guys have bought their games for what? You guys are pushing 50 years of buying games? Like
This motherfucker, bro.
You make a good
Awesome.
point. I paid my dues.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. These guys are honest reviewers. They've been buying games for a long time. So I say that to say I think we have some great people to talk about this title, and I want to pick Jake's brain first, and then we'll move over to Cash. But Jake, I want to know, can you give me a brief synopsis of your experience with the game without too much detail and without a score, but give me a feel of what you felt playing the game?
Yeah, I felt good playing this game because I'm a easy mark for Star Wars, man. I got 3 lightsabers back here in the background. I got Star Wars memorabilia all over the place, and I just love playing Star Wars video games. And it was such a hot topic. Sometimes I play games and people will come in and just kind of like idly watch or like maybe ask like a prodding question or something. But so often I found so many people coming in that were curious about this game as I streamed it, and I mainlined this thing. I rolled credits before the game was released for the $70 public. You know what I mean? Like I got the game 10 days early and I didn't touch it until my 1 day early access on top of the regular early access because I wanted to share it with stream. Like I know that I'm less of a reviewer and more of a streamer. And so many people stopped in and they were like, what do you think of this game? Is it worth $70? Is it worth $130? Is it good? Is what people are saying true? So I really got like my pitch down on this because I had to do the spiel like 1,000 times. And basically where I landed on Star Wars Outlaws is that this game is not a 10 out of 10. This game is far from perfect. It's a little janky. It's rough around the edges. But the same can be said for your existing favorite Star Wars game. When you think back to Shadow of the Empire, Empire at War, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, none of those are perfect games. None of those are 10 out of 10s. None of them were crowned Game of the Year. Maybe KOTOR was. But a lot of them are like 5, 6, 7s, 8s, sometimes 9s. Star Wars games don't have a great track record of like extremely high quality. They get by on having, and I get it, that's like you can dock points for that if you so desire personally. They get by on being Star Wars IP, and for people that are like me, and there's a lot of us, that's enough, man. So I had a good time with this game.
Awesome. Cash, what about you? What was your experience with the title?
Pretty much the same. One of the biggest issues I see like people complain about is just the graphics, like character designs and how somehow I won't even get into that. Let's just leave that to the internet. But the characters, I'm like, guys, this is not what this is. It's just flawed character designs. That's why the characters look the way they do. There's no agenda. There's nothing behind this. Characters look like shit because they're at shit at doing character design. That's really what it is.
What did they give you guys the game for? Just to get roasted?
No,
Like,
but
can you expand
so
on that?
I liked it.
Here's the thing. Here's the
Can you
thing.
expand on that, Cash? Like, what's
But
bad
here's-
about it? Like,
just the
'cause characters
you
are
can
hard.
tell that I
She
don't
don't
know
look like
what
the
it is.
model fully.
Exactly.
She's not a
There's something
one-to-one.
off. Exactly. There's something off about just the character designs. But again, I say this to say this. Is that the only thing that we look at when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to video games? Or are we looking at the gameplay? Are we looking at gameplay? Is it fun? Are we enjoying the game? Can we find a way to get enveloped in the overarching story? Can we connect to the characters? Are those things taking into consideration, or are we just going to look at the fucking graphics of the game? Is that all we're doing? If that's all we're doing, fine, do that. But let it be across the board with every other fucking game, because not all there's a lot of games that the graphics are shit, and people still give it high marks.
Yes,
A lot of games.
absolutely. Like they were, like I totally agree with what you're putting out.
People are
Just keep
excited
it
about that
consistent.
Devlock game that's coming out, and that shit
Yeah.
looks like it could have
Like,
been made 10 years
I'm
ago.
glad you brought that up, Harless.
Exactly.
Team Fortress 2 is considered still one of the greatest games of all time, but the game today looks like crap. Like it doesn't. Those character designs have never been that good. You know.
Also, I also want to speak on the fact that I've seen the bugs. I want to point that out. I've seen the bugs, but personally, I did not experience any major bug issues. I don't know about Jake. His experience might be different.
They're hilarious though.
I was about to say.
They are. But the only major glitch that I saw was like the NPCs like kind of fusing with the background after I do like a takedown or some shit like that. And they'll fall, but when they fall, they like kind of fuse with the wall. Those are the shit that I've seen.
I thought we were
Those
beyond that in gaming world now.
You still see it here and there in
Yeah,
gaming.
that used to be standard practice in all PlayStation 2 and earlier.
So that was the only like major like bug issues that I encountered with the game. When it comes to, we can talk about NMAI. I think more might have a question when it comes to that, but I'll leave that for later on. But like landscape, I feel like landscape wise, the game looks beautiful, especially when you're on that first planet. That first planet looks amazing to me. I don't know, Jake. I don't know if you feel the same way about this, but like it kind of feels lived in, but at the same time, you can tell that it's kind of like a barren. It's intentionally a barren wasteland because of how like the environment is set up.
Is it a desert planet?
Yes,
Like
it is a desert
Star
planet.
Wars
Yeah,
desert?
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite desert. It's weird. There's basically like not a spoiler. This is all on Ubisoft's website. You have four main planets, maybe 4.5, depending on how you look at it. Your main characters from Canto Bight, which is the casino planet from The Last Jedi that we see briefly, which kind of sandwiches the game. And then you have Toshara, which is the main planet that you see in a lot of the promo material that kind of looks like a desert planet, but it has some jungle aspects to it as well. It's tough to call it a desert planet when Tatooine is one of the other ones, which is a fucking desert planet.
Literally a desert
and then
planet.
you have Kijimi, which is the snow planet that we see briefly in The Rise of Skywalker, where they go and meet Babu Frick, the little munchkin that helps them like repair C-3PO or something. And then the last place is a place called Akiva, which is like pretty predominant in some of the expanded like Disney lore over the last 10 years. But that is like a thorough jungle planet. Think like more closer to like Endor, or like I compared it a lot to Gungaga, like if you know your Star Wars.
Like 3
Yeah, it's nice. There's good variety in the environments, which I really, really liked. One of the high points of the game. That's what I said, is that the areas are, for the most part in those planets, very, very open until you get to like a settlement or a city, and then they're extremely dense. And it really gave me the feeling of, I think I said this when I was talking about my preview on the last time I guested here, about how it felt less like I was playing a Star Wars game and more like I was walking through Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is the theme park that you can go to in Disney, where everything is dense and it doesn't matter what angle you look, there's something alive and there's something happening there. It was really surreal. I think that this, one of the more underappreciated things is how alive especially the dense areas feel in this video game.
This is awesome. So we're talking a lot. There's a couple things that are being covered. We're going to get to all of them. I think the first thing I want to open with is you guys have both agreed that the open world is impressive to look at. That visually it's quite stunning. I tried to do my homework in preparation for tonight, played the first hour of the game. First thing I thought to myself was, holy shit, these cutscenes look great. Those character models are rough. Can you speak a bit to the visuals of the game outside of what you guys have already said, which is that the open worlds themselves are very visually impressive? Cash, I'll actually start with you here. Visuals. Yeah.
Like I said before, the visuals are pretty impressive. There was I can't remember that first mission. I don't know if this is spoiler, but when that break-in, Jake, that break, that
Yes.
was beautiful. That play, like, because it had this almost Uncharted feel to it. That level,
Yeah.
like, it really felt like because you're sneaking in to steal something. But overall, I think the game really was able to pull off just the atmosphere of Star Wars, right?
Hmm.
As opposed to like, I'm not even really worried about the character design. Like I said this on stream before as well. You're seeing the back of this character's head. I don't really care. I don't care how she looks. I really don't.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, overall, like I think the gameplay was fun and engaging. The story didn't really hook me as much as I wanted it to, but I kept playing because it's Star Wars, right? And I seen a lot of comparison to like other Star Wars IP, especially video games, and like saying it doesn't feel like Star Wars. But I'm like, I say it doesn't feel like Star Wars, but in my opinion, that's a good thing that it doesn't feel like Star Wars because you can have more than one experience in the Star Wars universe, right? You
Good
don't need to have Jedis. You don't need to have like freaking lightsabers and force wielders to enjoy the
I
world.
agree with that. Star Wars is a universe that involves lots of
Right.
civilizations,
Look at
situations.
it this way. It's
Yeah.
like if we were used to like just seeing cops, like a cop story being told every day, and then they switch the perspective, and now we're focused on the people on the outside living their lives and how they experience their lives inside that world. Are we going to say, "Oh, this still doesn't feel like a cop show because, yeah, it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to. You're
Sure.
supposed to be focused on someone else at this point."
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And maybe
the same universe, but a different point of view. And I think that's
Yes,
awesome.
like a lot of this is happening in the periphery.
so. It sounds like it's
And
like closer to like a Rogue One or a Solo than it is to
Yeah,
like
pretty
something
much.
else.
just to be clear,
It's
this is
really on the
taking
money
place
as like a solo
during the
story.
this is
Really?
taking place during the reign of the Empire, right? Like Darth Vader and all that are still alive, right?
It takes place
Yes.
in between Empire and Jedi.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the
Han
Empire.
Solo's in carbonite. Han
So
Solo is encased in carbonite.
so you're essentially
Mm-hmm.
against the government here, like is what you are. You're against the
She's
Empire.
not really against the government. She's just like she's a scoundrel. Like she's basically a pay
Yeah.
for hire. She works for anybody pretty much.
It's neither. It's the exact
Trust no
stance
one.
as like it's the Han Solo stance. You're playing a smuggler and kind of just like you're playing an outlaw. You're playing kind of a scumbag,
survivor.
and you have very like gray decisions to make. There are no real like good or bad outcome. You're kind of just looking out for you and your little homie Nix, and that's all that really matters to you throughout the
So
game. And who
essentially the
knows? Maybe
police-
you'll make some friends along the way and start to care a little bit more. It's not the crazy biggest like reinvention of the wheel when it comes to like stories or anything like that, but I think I just want to piggyback on what Cash said a little bit to Maury's question about environments and how things looked like outside of that. And I think what Cash said was really like astute, comparing it to Uncharted is interesting because this game is touted as like the first open world Star Wars game, which it is, but I don't think that's where this game excels. Is like it almost funnels down and you have these like different experiences. So you have the open world that everyone's talking about, then you go down a level and you have the cities like I was talking about, where things start to feel more and more dense and more curated. And then you go down one further level to what Cash was talking about, and you have those Uncharted moments. And when things get really boiled down, and when this game is linear, is where I think it's at its best, which is really interesting to have it framed that way. And a lot of people have said like, oh, this is like Uncharted, or oh, this is like Assassin's Creed because it's Ubisoft, when in reality I think this game is most similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 in a lot of ways, is what I found. Like there's a lot of like smaller intimate moments where you'll be walking down the street and you'll be able to sit on a bench and just hear these two guys talk about how like, oh, there's some like trading going on, and I heard that this like Bantha is going to win the race over at the thing, and then you can make the decision to go and try to bet on that race because of a thing that you overheard. There's a lot of like emergent gameplay like that or I guess emergent situations that pop up. But from the Uncharted standpoint, and where I think this game excels like graphically and arguably like in gameplay wise too, is those big action set pieces, and it does a good job of funneling you in and out of those as well throughout the game. So you have like these kind of like three different instances where you're either big open world, kind of smaller environment that's a bit more curated, and then super linear like action set pieces like an Uncharted game. And that's where I think the game is the best.
Yeah, I like when it pans out. Like if you're like crawling out into like some kind of specific area, and the game will kind of like zoom out so you could see the scope of what is actually happening. I think those moments are freaking amazing.
Comparison be Zelda dungeons versus the open world? Is that a fair comparison? You know how Zelda, like, it takes
Yeah.
you to a place and you have like your dungeon, you find an item or whatever, and you fight a boss, and then but most of the game takes place in the open world out in the kingdom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got like
much.
even less freedom than that, but it's basically like you initiate a mission and that mission just kind of keeps you on rails, whether you're, you know, exploring like a abandoned starship that crash landed on a planet, or you're infiltrating a, you know, specific base or something like that. You'll just end up in these situations that you can't really escape from, and then you kind of realize halfway through you're like, oh, I'm really on the rails right now, aren't I?
Go ahead,
And
Cash.
that's something I also wanted to speak to as well. I've seen people talk about that. The fact that they're saying, how is this an open world game if I'm leaving and there's a countdown timer starting? I'm like, that's because you started a mission, jackass. You need to stay in the mission.
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Pretty much. If you leave a mission area, a countdown starts.
Yeah.
And I saw so many people complain about this online. Like,
wait, can you elaborate on that? So if you're on a mission and you leave the designated area, that it starts counting down in what sense? Like to the failure of the mission?
Like, yes.
Yeah, return to the mission area.
They want to give you an open world environment, right? So that way, when you start the mission, you're still in this world. So they have to have some barrier for you to not get off track with the mission or get lost.
Now,
but if you are
that is
staying in the
interesting.
mission, that timer isn't there. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's no timer there once the mission starts.
Wherever you want.
Yeah.
So something I'm going to ask, because this is actually interesting, because if you look at something like Elden Ring, which is also open world, if you're selecting a mission, you can still walk off and do what you want. But what you guys are talking about, where there's a timer, that's something I used to see a lot in older open world games.
Yes.
Something else that I'm seeing with the stealth is that whenever you're in a stealth section, yeah.
So
whenever you're in a stealth
can I
section.
ask a question real quick, Mori? So
yeah, go ahead.
So if that timer goes off, do you restart everything, or does everything you did like outside of the, you know, does those decisions stay? You know what I'm saying?
What I'm trying to kind of allude to is that those older game mechanics, right? Kind of like the having a timer whenever you step out of a mission, even if it is an open world, feels kind of PS3 era, especially with those stealth curated moments in the game. If you get caught, you get sent back to the beginning. You don't just have to run and gun and figure it out, go and hide somewhere. Does this game feel modern? Does it feel like it's 2024, or does it feel like it's 2013? Cash, I guess I'll start with you. What do you think?
In terms of my question, like in a morality-based game, any like decision I make that affects the morality system of the game, do those stay if that timer goes all the way down? You know, that's why that was my question.
In terms of morality, I don't think that once you don't really encounter morality issues during those segments. It's like when you're doing like actual missions to like steal something or take out an enemy or some shit like that, to that degree. If you're in that mission area and you leave, it will start a timer to count down the mission. If that timer ends, yes, you will restart the mission. It doesn't matter how far you are in that mission, because there's no checkpoints in that mission. At least from my experience from playing that game, when I played it, if I lost, it doesn't matter how close. I feel like I was very close at one point. And I either got caught or I got killed. And I had to restart the entire mission from the beginning. And I do feel like that's kind of like an antiquated mechanic that we've moved on. No, I feel like we've moved on from that as gamers. So it made the game somewhat frustrating at times, but I was still wanted to. I guess in a way it made me even more careful the second time around to like play the game. But I do get that that's something that we don't really see that much of anymore in gaming.
It used to be an old staple of RPG games that you just don't see anymore.
What about you, Jake? Do you feel that the mechanics are older? What do you feel?
Yeah, and I'm going to relate that also to like the morality question that Germ had, because I think I'm maybe doing it a disservice by calling it like similar to Red Dead Redemption, more so in the mission structure. I think one of the things that really like ill-conceived, well, I guess misconstrued by the general public here as far as like what this game is and what it isn't, is that you do have decisions to do, but this is not like a go anywhere, do anything open world. Like I think when people think open world, they think Assassin's Creed, they think Grand Theft Auto, especially when they start thinking Ubisoft. Is that how it works? There is no like, you can't just pull out your gun and kill everybody at the cantina, and you don't like get good boy points for returning the lady's stolen purse or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like these missions are structured in a way that you are to complete the mission, and if you go off the beaten path and you don't return to the mission area within 10 points, like you're 10 seconds, like you're saying, which is something that happened to me literally 0 times because it's a video game. You know what I mean? Like, you know what to do. Complete your fucking mission. You are then granted with like an overarching and a sweeping decision to make. That is typically, which of these evils do you want to commit? Do you want to frame these scumbags or these scumbags? So it's a lot. Go ahead.
Kind of like Assassin's Creed, in Assassin's Creed games, when you get close to the killing subject, like the camera kind of stops and you kind of walk. You can kind of like graze around, but you're listening to what they're saying, but you can't leave that general area, right?
Yeah, it's like fail conditions. So basically the way that this game is made up is that it actually, I was surprised at the way that the gameplay variety kind of presented itself, because your main missions are kind of as follows. You can have something we haven't talked about is you can go to space and drive a spaceship, and it's fucking sweet and it looks awesome. Yeah, and it's extremely simple, but it's effective and fun. But there's space missions, there's open world exploration missions where you're just kind of going from point A to point B, and you can, explore and get on your speeder or check out the wildlife. Then you have your kind of like platforming, Uncharted, puzzle solving, Tomb Raider style missions where you're not really in active combat. You're kind of just like platforming, and you're going from like jumping through this fan and turning off the engine so that you can have your, power turn off so you can get to the next place, or jump from this grate to that grate and activate this elevator. Then you have your main like action stealthy things, and those are separated into 3 different facets as well. So it's like 6 different things that you're doing throughout this game. One of them, this is shooty time. Go shoot the people. The second one is you can choose. Do you want to go stealthy, or do you want to kick in the door and start shooting people? You have that sort of, think about, so many games have pitched this, like you can complete this mission any way that you'd like, and you can choose if you want to be stealthy approach or go in guns blazing. Then the third version, and the thing that is like the point of most friction in the game, are the required stealth missions, where you're met with like of frequent fail conditions if you're spotted or if you do something incorrectly. And those are the missions where you can go off the beaten path or lose sight of your target, and you can lose progress. And there are some checkpoints that will be some more lenient than others, but there are definitely some, like I said, points of friction where you will end up so deep into a mission, and then you have avoided 15 stormtroopers and you've made it through this corridor and you're about to get to your point, and then some guy walks around the corner, looks at you, and it goes like you sounded the alarms, and then it drops you back.
And this is not like Metal Gear, right? You have radar. It's not like that, right?
No,
if you get caught, it's kind of your fault,
Yeah, like definitely. But it's janky, and there is AI, and that is like differing. And a lot of people would watch me fail repeatedly and almost get frustrated and be like, "Pay attention to their movements or learn their patterns." And I'm like, "No,
there's no pattern.
This shit is not. There isn't. It's not on rails. It's AI. People will spawn in different areas. They will go in different directions. It's challenging."
You said starships. Is there starship battles? Can you fight in the starship?
Yes, there.
Yeah, there's dogfighting.
That's dope.
Yeah. Well, let's get back. I want to jump off of what you had to say just now too, Jake. Yeah, I've encountered issues in missions where there's no way I was spotted by anyone. I was crouching. The enemy AI was downstairs, and for some reason, I got spotted. There was no cameras either, because I know there are also camera system throughout certain levels.
Mm-hmm.
There was none of that, and I got spotted, and I was like, "What? How?" So I feel like there was an issue. Yeah, there's
points of frustration with that, but there's also, I was able to I loved that this was to answer Maury's original question until we started really going off on it. It's very much like, this is a gamer ass video game that is kind of designed with 2013 sensibilities, which is fucking fine to me. Those games deserve to exist and still be here. That's absolutely cool with me. I like the structure of that, and I'm cool with fail conditions and retrying and trying to get it right after all that time. But what I found is that for every time, maybe not every time, but for like if 66% of the time I was getting fucked over by the AI and getting like pulled back and having to retry, 33% of the time I could kind of game the system and be like, this fucking idiot, I just walked right by this fool, he didn't see me. Or like I had some where they would sound the alarm, right? Or I would activate it and this dude would just like beeline it to the alarm to set the alarm, and I'm like, fuck you, dude, I can make it to my exit before you can get that alarm, and I would just take off like sprinting and skip big sections.
As a streamer, do you find stuff like that like really fun, like meme worthy for your community, for your chat? I think that would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so endearing. I love that kind of thing. I embrace the jank, and that's why I think I had so much fun with it.
That's awesome. Now another question I have for you guys is, you guys have talked a little bit about the AI. It's a little bit faulty. Sometimes it gets it, sometimes it totally doesn't get it. Maybe it plays in your favor one time, against you another time, all that. I want to know a little more about the combat. So when I think about stealth games that I've fallen in love with, I think of Dishonored. I think about the old Assassin's Creeds, where as you play the game, the amount of options that you have to kill people, to take people down, open up. It becomes more and more expansive as you continue to play. How do you feel about combat in this game? Does it expand as you continue to play? Is it immersive enough? Are there enough options? What do you feel overall about the combat in Star Wars Outlaws? I'll start with Cash.
Oh, you started me? Okay. So I think it's very satisfactory. It's not reinventing the wheel by any stretch of the imagination. The one thing I love was the almost like a quick scope mechanic that it has.
Okay.
Is that a glitch?
Are we watching picture? Oh, like which Jake should I be looking at right now?
Both.
Down for a minute, so I'm sorry.
But yeah, there are some mechanics that I actually do like about the game, but I don't think it's reinventing the wheel. It really isn't. It's serviceable. Let's say that it is a serviceable combat system that will get you from point A to point B. That's it.
Jake, do you have anything to add?
It looks like
it is not. This is not like this is not an immersive sim. Do not go in there expecting like Dishonored or even like a Cyberpunk or anything like that as far as options here, as far as how you like complete things for the most part.
In terms of gameplay, is that an accurate?
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty solid way to put it. And the thing that Cash is talking about, like I do like when you're on like the speeder and when you're in combat scenarios, you kind of had like the Red Dead Redemption 2 Deadeye or Red Dead Redemption 1
or
you can kind of
Conviction, Splinter Cell Conviction. If
use your focus and then you can mark a couple enemies, let go of the trigger, and it's take everybody out. But for the most part, man, like I pummeled through this game. I did not a single side quest except for the ones that were required to progress the story, which I think is actually kind of nice when you pad out a story mission with like, go retrieve this thing and go off the beaten path and like complete this quest for so-and-so to continue the story. Because if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't do anything. And then also after hour 3, I didn't touch my skill tree because I realized that it gives you a couple different things to work with, but for the most part, it does not change or enhance the gameplay experience. I think it kind of makes things faster. But I don't listen, if I don't have to engage with it in your video game, I pretty much don't. I don't complete games. I don't do side quests. I don't get platinum trophies. Like, it's just not who I am as a gamer. I am going to beat Star Wars and then I'm going to move on to the next game. How many new games do you play this week, Heartless?
Damn.
Praise.
The real answer.
Do you have your schedule of games like planned out like weeks, months in advance? You have that all scheduled
Excellent
out?
question. I have what I call is like a soft docket, which like is new and exciting games coming out, and then also like a docket of old games that I really want to get to, and then I never have a schedule. I have what we call.
Give me just a round ballpark number. How big is it?
Like my upcoming games is probably 50 in between now and the end of the year that are just like on my radar is stuff that I could possibly play. And my soft docket of like old legacy stuff is probably 150 strong of like things that I'd like to get to or franchises I'd like to explore. But then I am like the only streamer on Twitch. If you look up like advice, they'll all tell you like, have a schedule, let people know when they can find you and what you'll be playing. And I refuse to do that. I have what I call Twitch's only stream outline. These are my loose plans of things we might get to this week or next.
I love this. Cash, you gotta have this guy on every week. I love this guy. This guy gets it. This is what gaming is about. Not locked into one game, like trying it all. I love it.
For sure. I want to experience as much as I can.
Something Jake said, which I thought was interesting, was Jake, you said that you didn't really go and do the side quest content. So I wanted to pick your guys' brain about the narrative. I know that I heard Cash say something earlier, but I really want you guys to break it down. Is this a good Star Wars story? Is it an intriguing story? Are the characters any good? Jake, I'll start with you.
Matter.
Yes, Jake, what do you think?
It's okay. It's okay. Like I don't think it's great. I don't think it's revolutionizing Star Wars canon or anything like that. It fits in with the canon, but it doesn't do much to like enhance stories that we already know, nor does it add like crazy layers that I think are like super exciting for the future of Star Wars.
Question on that: is there no, without spoilers, is there cameos of like the main Star
Wars?
Yeah,
there's some stuff you're gonna want to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
For sure. Which is like something that like people love. Like, and I love that too. I'm so guilty of like, Mandalorian's good, but it's at its best when so and so shows up, type of thing. Okay. But maybe
show up?
Less than you'd hope and more than you'd think for like those cameos, I guess, if that makes sense.
Was it Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order?
I would say it's in line with the Jedi games as far as as far as like the amount that you will see for screen time and how much impact they have on the thing. And like I just played right before this game came out, the weekend before, we crushed through and I played The Force Unleashed all the way through, where like your lead character is Starkiller, but your second lead in that game is fucking Darth Vader. And he has like hundreds of lines of dialogue, and then the Emperor shows up and you're like fighting Darth Maul, and like dude, that is like Star Wars fan service, like right in your face. This is a like much more reined in story.
Where Luke shows up at the end, spoiler alert, when Luke shows up at the end of season 2, it's like we all knew it was coming. When it happened, it was still so cool, right?
Yeah, it's more like that. It's more like that for sure. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool shit, but I don't think it's crazy. I think there are some nice, likable characters for sure, but I think that overall, like the story is not the strong point here. And even after rolling credits, and again, spoiler free, I'm not over here like, God, can't wait to see what Kay Vess gets up to next or anything like that. Like I like her as a character, fine, but I don't.
Yeah, she's cool.
Wasn't crazy,
So I'm just clarifying, and then I'm going to move over to Cash because I want to pick Cash's brain. Kay Vess does not hold a candle to Cal Kestis. Is that what you're saying?
You're asking the wrong fucking person, dude. I like Kay Vess way more than Cal Kestis.
No,
really? A little whiny,
I'm with
kind
Jake
of a whiny
here.
little fuckboy.
I like
no,
not the Joker. Not
Jedi
the
Joker. I will always side with the non-Jedis.
Okay, no, I gotta say this on stream for everybody. I have a Cal Kestis statue right up there.
Yeah.
As you should.
Jake, go fuck yourself. And Cash, Cash, go ahead.
More real quick.
You're fine.
Every episode, you say you have a statue of something. Is your entire room just full of gaming memorabilia right there? Is it filled to the brim of gaming stuff?
There's too much.
Damn.
Yeah.
You need to take a tour at some point on your stream.
Make that Mori, legit. Make that a redeem on your channel. Like if they redeem something, they get a tour.
He should make that his first YouTube
one
video.
item in your room.
Yeah.
One item in your room. Make that
that should
I had
be
one
your
for a
first
long time
YouTube
called
video.
Tchotchke Time. Tchotchke Time, where like when someone redeems for like 5,000 points, you'll just grab some random memorabilia from your room and show it off and talk about how you got it or what it does or what game it's
that'll pop off on your channel guaranteed. But anyway, we got off topic. So sorry.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. So yeah, okay, Cash. Are you in the same kind of vein? Is this just a serviceable story? You could take or leave it.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I only have one word for this game and this story. Serviceable.
That's not a spoiler right there, is it?
It's serviceable. That's it. You're chucked into a scenario and you're just there to experience the gameplay. That's pretty much what this game is. That's really what it is. And it's just like you're kind of like you are now in. You get to experience a world that you love, essentially. This is for Star Wars fans, right?
So this is going deeper in the universe
I don't think
itself.
So. I don't think so. It's not really going deeper per se. It's just you get to experience. You get to experience something in a universe you love. That's all I can really say about the game. Like it's very serviceable. Kay Vess is a cool character. I think she's a fast talking. She's kind of funny at times. And I like her relationship with Nyx, so that's cool. But as regards to Cal Kestis versus Kay Vess, I don't know. I kind of like Cal Kestis.
Do you think this will fall under that lost opportunity situation, like Finn from the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy?
No, No.
Wasted opportunity.
Listen. You can't compare any other.
No.
Finn is probably the most misused
Yes,
character
wasted
in Star
opportunity.
Wars
What I said.
history, bro.
I'm
Yeah,
livid. I'm
There was
livid.
a lot of intriguing storylines they
Bro,
could have took
there were
that.
so many theories that we, as fans, came
Yep.
up with when we saw, especially with the first time we saw him in the trailer, and he lit that fucking
Oh,
lightsaber, and we were like,
Oh, sick, dude.
"Is Finn force sensitive?"
Bro.
What?
Yeah,
Or he
the
has
sickest
that,
moment of that entire trilogy is that trailer moment.
or he has
Bro.
that pointless
Yes.
battle with
Bro.
what is it, that silver stormtrooper? Like, you got the
Mm,
feeling there was
Phasma.
some type of
Yeah.
relationship there, or some kind of history there. But
Yo,
just-
they teased a bunch of shit
Yeah, like
and
they
paid
might
off
kiss.
nothing. Exactly, they teased so many shit in that movie and paid nothing off.
yeah,
See,
Because for the sake
And-
of what's the word I'm looking for again? Game of Thrones did it the last
yeah.
episode.
And he had that love
Subvert
triangle.
expectations. Yes, they
He
did
had
all
that
of
love-
that to just to subvert expectation.
And he had that love triangle with that Rose or whatever, and they just dropped that.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't. It was totally irrelevant.
It felt like they didn't know what to do with fucking
Yeah.
thing. They didn't know what to do with Finn at one point.
all
That's
that
what it
said,
felt like.
we love John Boyega here. He was done deeply dirty. Guys, I've heard a lot from the both of you. I've heard a couple of things that have stood out to me, and I'm going to repeat them back to you before we ask for your scores. You've said that the combat is serviceable. You've said that the AI is serviceable. You've said that the stealth mechanics were serviceable. You said that the story was serviceable. So, and I'm not gonna lie, you guys did say the open world felt alive and like it was working, but damn near every single thing we discussed today was serviceable. So I now ask, on a scale of 5 points, I'm gonna lead with Cash and then we're gonna jump to Jake. Where do you place this out of 5? Because I'm hearing a lot of serviceable. Cash.
3.25.
All right, so
What is it?
No, I don't do a point system. Like I have my own little rating system that I do, especially on my YouTube channel. And these are the 5 that I usually have as my rating system. So there is Shut Up and Take My Money, which is a solid 5. There is Worth. There's Pretty Damn Decent, which is a 4. Worth refunding, so you'll play it and essentially return it, or you could say worth bargain. No, bargain is the third one. So third would be bargain bin. 2 is worth a refund, and 1 is absolute trash fire. Right.
So, like,
Shouldn't have
what
bought
is
in
it?
the first place.
Would a 5
is
be
it?
considered a perfect game? On your scale, is a 5 a perfect?
Yes, 5 is a perfect game.
Okay.
Is there any perfect
very
games in
very
existence?
few games get 5s. Very few.
Very game.
But
Very
would
few
Breath of
games.
the Wild be considered a 5 for you?
The what?
Just,
Outer
just,
Wild?
just to put a scale in my mind.
What? What
Like
get
Breath
5?
of the
Get
Wild,
to
is that considered a 5 for you?
Breath of the Wild.
I just want to put a
Oh,
scale
what?
in my brain.
Of course it's a 5. What do you mean? Of
But it's
course
on
it's a
Cash
5.
Why are you thinking about
Yeah,
this?
no. I
Literally,
think so.
Jake, we gotta
No.
jump this
Bro,
motherfucker.
we gotta give people suspense. What are we talking about right now, bro?
I have to put it. I
It's
have
a-
to put
yeah,
it
it's a
in
5.
scale for me. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
gotta
know,
figure out the
def-
scale. Like,
Yeah, it's definitely a
if
5.
you're talking about 5s, and are there 5s, and does that mean they are perfect games?
I think Zelda is a perfect game.
So
Breath of
it's
the
a
Wild
5.
is a perfect game.
So it's a 5.
And but if you compare it to Tears of the Kingdom, as opposed to, apparently it falls very short, because
But for you, it's a 5.
yeah, it's a 5 for
Breath
me
of the
because
Wild
I
is a
haven't
5.
played Tears of the Kingdom just yet. But yeah, if I were gonna gauge friggin' Star Wars Outlaws,
So what would be a 1? Well, let's put that on the other side. What would you consider a 1?
what would be a 1? The Gollum
Yeah.
game that came out recently.
Which one?
That's a
Disco Elysium.
Suicide Squad.
Disco Elysium. No. Jake,
See, I circled
you gotta
the fact,
see me,
fellas.
Musty. I'm coming to
Baldur's
Boston.
Gate
That
3.
was by design.
Baldur's Gate 3, easy one, bro.
I didn't realize he was
Wow.
joking. I thought,
Wow.
guys, I thought he legitimately just said Disco Elysium was a 1. I was about to fly to Boston. We were about to throw hands.
Whoa! Jake, you're in Boston?
I'm in Maine now, but I spent the last decade in Boston. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I'm 20 minutes from Boston.
No
Oh,
shit.
wow.
What part?
Wow.
Well, you don't have to dox yourself.
So
Off stream.
based at 5 being Breath of the Wild, 5 being Breath of the Wild, 1's being Suicide Squad. Well, let's see what else.
Suicide Squad
Yeah,
is
bro.
not even a 1, bro. Suicide Squad is way past
No.
that. I'm sorry. It's like -10 at this point. I'm sorry.
That's
I am
crazy.
sorry, bro.
It's crazy.
Jesus, bro.
It's
Like
even, it's
everything
way-
they released, Also, side note, this is not in the notes, but apparently Rocksteady is looking to pitch their next big game that they're
Yeah.
trying to move on to. I read that recently this week. But
They're making
All right.
more games.
I don't know. I
Well,
think
WB Games is extra fucking money, dude.
Bro.
They're in bad shape.
Suicide Squad, the game is even free and people still won't play it.
The game is
Yeah.
free.
the
Yeah,
game.
it's free
I
to
got the
play
game
on
for free.
Amazon right now.
Remember,
You
I
guys see
told you the
rumors
game was
floating
free.
around of like a Batman game set in like the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson's character.
Yeah,
they
but
have that
no,
in the
James Gunn
latest
confirmed they're not doing that. He killed that
Yeah,
rumor.
that's what I'd say
immediately this
too
week.
if I was working on it.
Oh, true.
Oh,
You don't like the Robert Pattinson?
Fair,
Wait,
fair.
Wait, you don't like?
I
the
love
Robert
it, dude.
Pattinson-
I think that Batman rips, dude. They
I-
play that Nirvana
yeah,
song. He
I-
comes
I
out
like-
looking
I like-
hunky as fuck.
I like the world of that Batman a lot.
No.
He surprised
There's
that Batman.
in my ass. That
Imagine
shit's
if
fucking
Ben
gross.
Affleck
Get it out of
played
here.
that
Get it outta here.
Batman.
Get that shit
Dude,
out of here,
okay,
bro.
okay,
That
Maury,
shit
Maury,
fucking does
Maury,
it for
hold
him,
on,
bro.
hold on,
Besides the
Maury.
fact that Maury's hilarious.
I know,
Imagine
Heartless.
if Ben Affleck played that Batman. For real though.
No, that shit's buns. That shit is ass, bro. Get
Yeah,
that
what
shit
is
out of
Yeah,
here.
I'm
what is
telling
ass
you,
about
dude.
it? That world is the most. That's the most cinematic Batman we've ever seen.
It
Oh
was a
yeah,
great
sure,
movie.
sure.
Bro,
yeah.
it surprised the fuck.
Heartless
No, it
normally
really
has
surprised
horrible
me.
takes on movies, but that's a
Mm.
good one. That he
No, that movie surprised the shit out of
What,
me.
what do you mean?
Like-
That's not even like a. That's not even. That's an objective truth. When you're talking about like cinematography and like
no,
like the way it is the most cinematic Batman that we've ever seen.
Yeah, that movie.
Robert Pattinson
Matt
looks like he
Reeves,
listens.
fucking Kino.
He has nothing to do with the cinematography.
Nah, bro. He looks like he listens to Blink 182 in his room and cries. Like that shit is corny. Get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
bro.
That
Like,
is the
nah,
that's a good Bruce Wayne,
that's
dude.
like
You listen to
point. It's the most
182 and you will
90s
cry.
cringe, most 90s, early 2000s cringe Batman ever. And we love
that shit sucks.
Wild.
That shit sucks. Okay. Legitimately,
Sorry,
though, Cash,
back on track.
1 through 5. Where are you at with Star Wars Outlaws?
God damn. All right, so I'm at a 3, guys.
Wow.
I think I'm at a 3.
Bargain bin, huh?
Bargain
Yeah.
bin?
Yeah. So I'm at a 3, close to 4.
So for $20, you would buy the game.
Probably 30. I'd probably pay 30.
You
for
would
it.
dig down a little bit in that Walmart bin to try to find
I
it?
think no. So here's the thing. Even if I didn't get the game for free, right? I still think I would have bought the game. So I'd say, but I'm saying bargain bin, but I probably would have paid
So you're
the
saying
the
the game's
$70
worth
for the game.
$70?
I respect that.
Can you go on record saying that? You think it's worth $70?
I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
You'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I
That's
just went
what
out and spent.
Yeah.
And if you're not a
just went out
Star
and
Wars
did it.
fan,
If you're not a Star Wars fan, then I don't know why you're buying Star Wars.
Fair.
I'm gonna be real. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Let's just be honest. As Star Wars fans, like, dude, a 7 out of 10 Star Wars game is a 11 out of 10 Star Wars game to us. I'm gonna love every
Yeah.
second in this game, despite the fact
Right.
that it may not be that great.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
It's
saying. That's why
average.
I would have spent full price for the game. I would have probably spent the $70.
back me up on
to
this,
get it.
Heartless. The average gamer thinks Street Fighter is probably like a 4 out of 5, 4 out of 10 game, but we think
No.
it's a 10.
Oh,
out of
4 out
10.
of
Nah,
10.
nah, I don't think so. The average gamer thinks
Oh,
bro.
No,
Street
I think
Fighter
Street
is
Fighter gets
up
a lot of
there.
respect, dude.
No, Street
Yeah.
Fighter is up there, bro. Street Fighter is
Even
up
the people
there.
that don't like it
I'm
respect it.
inclined to agree
Exactly.
with you, and I would love to, but I remember years ago when I was in high school trying to be like, yo, guys, buy this game, getting my friends to buy this game, and then being in an awkward situation where all my friends are like, yo, man, I can't believe I really listened to you and bought that shit. And
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, that's just because you're stupid and don't know how to learn the game.
you know, the majority of casual fans view fighting games like, oh, I'm going to buy this to play with my friends, and then they don't put the work in, and their friends surpass them, and then the game becomes a paperweight.
Listen, I'm not even no comment. I'm not even gonna say shit. Anyways,
Okay.
Heartless knows exactly.
Anyway,
what I was
sorry,
about to say.
we got off path there again.
Yes.
No.
Sorry, Maury.
No, we're great. We're great. We're fine. We're cooking, guys. We're cooking.
Let's
I just
flip
I
to
have
the
to
next
hear.
subject.
So,
Just-
Jake,
Jake, what do you think? Is it a bargain bin game?
It's a 3 out of 5 for me, and I think that I'm in the minority because it's going to be more divisive like that than that for most people, and that's why you see the discourse that you're seeing on fucking YouTube comment sections around the globe, and I think that it's like a 4 out of 5 if you're a big Star Wars fan. Go for it, spend the $70, enjoy your Star Wars story before someone spoils it for you. And if you're just like a gamer-ass gamer who's either impartial on Star Wars or not into Star Wars, it'll be closer to like a 2 out of 5. So like it's not going to be like. Crazy.
I like that take. I like that take.
You said you're an hour in. Are you going to finish this game? Like
yeah.
How much? I know you're busy with Concord right now, but are you going to finish the game?
Yeah. I will see. I will roll credits. We'll see if I do anything else beyond that. But I will roll credits. Yeah.
I will only be buying this game on sale. That's where my stance is.
No, I like exactly. So Jake, what Jake said just now, pretty much encapsulates what I was trying to say. As a Star Wars fan, it's probably going to be more of a 4, but as like a casual gamer or just like a gamer who just want to play another like adventure game, you're probably going to be sitting at a 3 or a 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you tell me I can like. You tell me I can drive a speeder into a bantha, like I'm fucking in. I'm not gonna leave that game on the shelf.
I'm probably aligned with Heartless here. Like, if the game goes on sale for like $40, I might pick it up, and there's no guarantee.
I'm surprised you're not saying that you were gonna send money to Ubisoft so they can.
I'm saying for me, I would wait till it's $40, probably, and I would maybe consider the purchase before I would consider it because I'm not a huge Star Wars nerd. I'm just not.
Yeah, I don't think I really got a chance to talk about like bugs. Like I have like a gigantic asterisk with this too. Like we didn't talk about the save data thing. Like let me just ramble for like 3 minutes on this.
Please.
So I got this game. The way that they did it is they gave me this game 10 days early. They said you can stream it a day before anybody else gets their hand on it, which was Monday. Then on Tuesday, the rest of the world gets early access. That's when you get your day one. That's when you get like your day one patch comes out. That's Tuesday. And then Friday, the game comes out for the rest of the world. So I had the opportunity to play it early if I wanted to and review it. And I said, nah, dog, I'm not going to play it early. I know who I am. I'm a streamer. I'm going to play this for my chat and they're going to enjoy it with me. So I waited and I played it on Monday. I streamed 3 different times, took 2 lengthy breaks, put in like 12 hours into Star Wars, like got halfway through the game. Woke up Tuesday to stream again, and I have an email in my inbox from Ubisoft. And that was not my favorite email that I've ever got. It was basically it's to best experience the Outer Rim. We rolled out a maintenance to make sure that everyone is playing the latest version of the game. As one of the players affected who had access to an older version of the game, we are aware that you might be encountering some issues after this recent patch. We sincerely apologize. Blah blah blah. Make sure you're on the most recent update. Here's how to do it. Once you confirm that you're at the latest version, please start a new save to enjoy Star Wars Outlaws as our team intended.
Can I ask you a question about that? Is that specifically you, or was that just a blanket email to all people?
A bunch of people got it, right?
That was a blanket email to everybody that was issued a review code or an early access code before purchasing the game. That did not purchase the game. Anybody that just bought the game, deluxe edition or otherwise, that downloaded it on Tuesday and started a new save, they had that day one patch. This was only for the most part for creators. Now, granted, they gave it to a lot of fucking creators and a lot of people. If you gave Ubisoft the right wink, they'd send you a copy on this one. They went wide with the promotion.
They denied me.
And then
they denied me.
next round. But the problem that I had was that I was like, dude, I'm already halfway through this game. I'm not restarting it. So I had like a conundrum. If you go and watch part 4 of my thing, I read that email to my chat and I go, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and replay. I'm not going to put you guys through that. The way that I see it is we go pedal to the metal. We see if we run into one of these game breaking bugs. You know what I mean? I go the whole way. I find out that most of the people that were having an issue in the first 4 hours of the game trying to land on a planet. It was not an issue for me. I didn't have an issue landing on another planet. I played that game for another 9 hours. I went all the way through. I got to the very last mission. I did the last piece of gameplay that I was supposed to do. Let's say that I killed or destroyed something. Who knows what the last function was? And then no cutscene played. And I had no objective. And I was like, let me try reloading, and I couldn't reload. And I got soft locked out of beating the game.
That's
So
crazy.
I went and I was like, wait, let me see how much of this game is left.
Bro.
Like, what do we do in this situation? So I brought up a full playthrough on YouTube, and I brought up to where we were, and we were 4 minutes away from the end. It was literally just the last cutscene didn't initiate. So I didn't get the trophy, but again, I don't care about trophies, and we just watched the ending, which is fine. I earned it. I did everything that game had, offered me to do. But it's just to say there is some jank. There is some jank in that game, without a doubt, and it'll be
to people that were reviewers that had this problem, right? If you bought the game,
and only on PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Only on PlayStation 5. And people that bought the game did not
deal
deal with this.
Okay, but if you bought the game, this didn't happen. That for sure.
Nope, because you didn't have access until that day zero.
I would be outraged,
Correct. Yeah, and I think a lot of this comes down to like poor communication on Ubisoft's part, I think, and that's like it's you don't want to bite the hand that feeds here. You know what I mean? Like, speak positively about our partners and stuff like that. But I think they could have done a better job communicating what the actual issue was. Because the fact that I was able to go as far as I did and then hit the stuff is a way better experience than restarting my save 12 hours in. So it sounds like they sent out a blanket statement to try to like, hey, everybody, sorry about this. And then they sent out another thing like, here's some compensation. We give it 100 Ubisoft credits and a little fucking bonus thing. And everyone is like outraged. They're all shaking their fists in the air as if it affects them. When in reality, everyone that's outspoken about this, it probably didn't even affect, and they probably have no idea what they're talking about. There's people with Xboxes that are saying the same thing.
Get the game for free, right?
The only thing
so it's like you lost time at most. You didn't actually lose money.
There's the potential that maybe with the time zones, perhaps some areas might have been affected by it, but for the most part, it wasn't. That patch went live on Tuesday, and the game was available on Tuesday. It was set out primarily for people playing on PlayStation 5 that had access before the game's retail availability via early access or not. So I think it's a lot of keyboard warriors and people that are bandwagoning hating on this situation.
Yes. Also, I feel like a lot of the bugs and issues that were in the game that I've seen mainly came from PlayStation, which is crazy to even say. Like a lot of them were.
You know what's one way to avoid all this, folks? Buy physical media. That'll never happen to you.
I think I think that physical media would still get hit though.
There's a less of a chance.
Is janky. The game is janky. The game is janky. Yeah. You're still.
Did the whole save thing? There's less of a chance that'll happen to you if you buy. It's
important to remember that when you buy a physical copy, when you put that game in, it's going to
have
all the
download.
Jank. It's going to have all the jank. The only thing that stops the jank from being there is the day one patch that you would have gotten even if it was digital. So just clarifying.
For a little bit of like inside baseball here is like, it sucks. It actually, I think this situation sucks for people like Cash and I more than anybody else, because I think what happened is that like Ubisoft went really, really wide with their promotion for this game for creators, right? They reached out to smaller creators and gave them opportunities that aren't often offered to AAA, to people of our size with games of this like size and budget and IP, right? And because of that, we got some people in the mix that had access to the game early that weren't always like taking the high road and speaking like not like, again, they don't pay me for my opinion, they don't pay me for my time, they send me a game and they hope that I share it with my community and I can say whatever the fuck I want. But I think what happened is that a lot of the people that got their hands on this aren't the highest brow creators in the world, and they would rather get a headline than anything else. So it's easier for you to be affected by this and then bandwagon and then have that conversation online like, I can't believe Ubisoft fucked me with my saved data after I played their game early for them, when in reality wouldn't have had access to that game if Ubisoft hadn't sent it to you anyway. And it sucks and it's not great, but it's an asterisk. But
that's a great